Alright, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be talking about the new patch that just came out yesterday and the effects that it will have on the Necromancer and just the Necromancer. So if you like this kind of content, be sure to leave me a like, comment, subscribe, all that fun jazz, and we'll just jump right into it. So, first thing we'll go over is skills that have been changed. Uh, the first one is Initiates Decompose Slow, increased from 30% to 50%. So if you're using Decompose and this particular one over the Acolytes, the slow is increased from 30% to 50%. Paranormal Sever, cast required for vulnerable, reduced from 4 to 3. So that will be right here. And Enhanced Blood Surge, healing increased from 2.5% to 3% of maximum life. That's the first one on Blood Surge. Instead of 2.5 and 5%, it'll be 3% and 6% if you hit more than 4 enemies. Not a big change there. Enhanced Blood Lance damage reduction for piercing reduced from 15% to 10%. So, yeah, the second enemy hit by your Enhanced Blood Lance will take a little more damage. It's not a huge change, but there is a theme behind that as we go along. Bone Prison, initial essence gained from 15 to 25. Of particular note on this, it is not Bone Prison itself. You have to have Enhanced Bone Prison, and you just get more essence from using it and actually trapping an enemy with it. Abhorrent Iron Maiden, healing increased from 5% to 7% of maximum life. That is this one. When an enemy dies while afflicted with Iron Maiden, you heal for it's 7% of maximum life now. So if you use Iron Maiden, that's decent, I guess. Golems move faster and unhindered through enemies when their cooldown is activated. This is going to be huge for minion builds. That's a pretty nice change. Supreme Blood Wave leaves behind blood orbs earlier in its path. That's just a quality of life change for Blood Wave. Here's a big one. Raised Skeleton, Corpse Explosion, and Corpse Tendrils range for auto-targeting corpses on mouse and keyboard increased by 50%. So it'll be easier for you to target corpses if you're using a mouse and keyboard. Yeah, that seems like a really nice change to me. Raised Skeleton, Skeletal Priest bonus damage increased from 20% to 30%. So if you have all your minions out and you use your Raised Skeleton again to heal them and increase their damage, you'll get 10% more damage out of it. Also, Raised Skeleton, Skeletal Priest healing increased from 10% to 15%. So getting an increase in the healing we get from this ability as well should make it easier to keep your minions alive if you are having trouble with that. Alright, passives. Evulsion bonus damage to vulnerable reduced from 6, 12, and 18% to 5, 10, and 15%. Evulsion is the bone skills. So if you're running Bone Spear and Bone Spirit, this is a bit of a nerf for you, about a 3% nerf. Not the end of the world, but it is a nerf. Transfusion minion healing increased from 15, 30, and 45% to 20, 40, and 60%. That is this blood skill here, where when you pick up blood orbs, it also heals your minions. Just a nice quality of life change. Alright, Drain Vitality Lucky Hit Chance increased from 25% to 30%. That's this one. Hitting enemies with blood skills has up to a 30% chance to fortify you for 8% of base life. So you're just getting an increased chance to get this. Amplify damage increased from 3, 6, and 9% to 4, 8, and 12%. This is a pretty good one. This is one that most minion builds will run. You deal 12% increased damage to cursed enemies when you have 3 points in it. So that's a pretty nice buff. Alright, so Book of the Dead. Necromancer minions will now automatically resummon after respawning during a world boss fight. It's nice. I wouldn't say it's a huge change, but it is a nice quality of life change. Skeleton Warrior Defenders upgrade Thorns inherited increased from 40% to 50%. So if you're running a Thorns build with your minions, they've increased this from 40% to 50%. I don't know how much difference that'll make. It does seem nice though. Shadow Skeleton Mage upgrade attacks required for an additional Shadow Bolt reduced from 5 to 4. So that'll be on this particular one if you take this actual node with your Shadow Mages. You'll just get the extra Shadow Bolt a little more often. Bone Skeleton Mage upgrade. Fortify amount increased from 11% to 20%. That would be this one. When the Bone Mage dies from its own attack, they leave behind a corpse and fortify you for 20% of your base life. So that's nice if you actually use this one. Iron Golems upgrade attacks required for slam attack reduced from 5 to 4. So again, you have to be using this node on your Iron Golem to actually get this effect, but it'll make it happen more often if you're using this one. Okay, Paragon. The Essence Glyphs bonus now affects all damage instead of just core skills. So this is this particular one here. It did apparently affect only core skills, and now it just applies to all damage that you do. Alright, aspects. They've changed some of the aspects. We'll go over them a little bit. Some of these I have, some of them I don't, but we'll talk through each of them. Splintering aspect. Bone shard damage bonus reduced from 50 to 100% to 30 to 60%. So again, a nerf to Bone Spear, which honestly is not unexpected considering the ridiculous amount of damage that people were doing with Bone Spear. So this is just another nerf to Bone Spear. Aspect of Plunging Darkness. Bonus damage increased from 50 to 100% to 75 to 125%. That's this one. The Bone Prison spawns a Pool of Blight that deals 75 to 125% now bonus damage over 6 seconds. So they buffed that one. Coldbringer's aspect. Blizzard cooldown reduced from 10 to 8 seconds. So instead of every 10 seconds, every 8 seconds your skeletal mages cast a blizzard. It should be a nice little buff to that. It shouldn't make all that much difference, but Aspect of Hungry Blood. Chance to fire an additional blood lance increased from 10 to 20% to 13 to 23%. The patch notes on this are actually wrong. I actually have this one. When I look at it, they didn't implement the changes they put in the patch notes. They reworked the aspect entirely. So the way this did work was if you hit an enemy with blood lance that already had a blood lance in it, you had a 10 to 20% chance of firing an additional blood lance at a new enemy. So instead of that, it looks like they've went with each cast of blood lance will launch an additional blood lance at a nearby enemy when it first hits an enemy that is already lanced, dealing 38 to 48% of normal damage. So this will happen more often. It's not as small of a chance. It's not having a small chance to fire a full damage blood lance. It's a guaranteed blood lance if you hit an enemy that's already lanced. It's just not going to do as much damage, but it should be more consistent damage. So I look at this as a buff. This is actually better in my opinion. Just because it's not such a low chance of happening. Okay, blood soaked aspect damage increased from, so it's this one. The blood mist leaves a trail that lasts for 4 seconds and deals shadow damage per second to enemies who stand in it. They've increased the damage on it. Apparently, I can't tell much difference in the damage, but this isn't one that I use all that often, so I can't really say how much of a difference it is. On the patch notes, the numbers they give don't really make all that much sense to me. Aspect of ultimate shadow damage increase from, and they give numbers. This is the aspect that turns Bone Storm and Blood Wave into darkness skills. Give them the shadow damage. Apparently it's increased the damage on it by a pretty not a lot, but it does look like it's gotten a bit of a buff. Aspect of Grasping Veins, critical strike damage bonus reduced from 30 to 60% to 20 to 40%. So if you use the only aspect that affects corpse tendrils, it has been nerfed. You won't get quite as much additional critical strike damage from it. Okay, Osseous Gale aspect bonus Bone Storm duration increased from 4 to 8 seconds to 5 to 10 seconds. That's this one. Bone Storm consumes up to 8 corpses to increase its duration by up to 10 seconds now. So they increased it from 8 to 10 seconds on the max. Aspect of the Damned, damage bonus increased from 30 to 40% to 40 to 50%. Yeah, I didn't actually have this one. It is right here. 40% increased shadow damage to enemies afflicted by both Decrepify and Iron Maiden. So they have increased this damage by 10%, basically, if you use this aspect. Bloodbathed aspect. Aspect echo damage has been increased. The damage reduction is reduced from 30 to 40% to 40 to 50%. So, well, let's get off of that. I actually have this one. So they've reduced the damage reduction on this one. This was 70 to 60%, with 60% being the best roll. Now it's 60 to 50%. So you'll get a little more damage out of your Blood Surge Echo. Aspect of reanimation, skeleton's damage bonus increased from 20 to 30% to 30 to 40%, which is this one, while your skeletons gain increased damage while alive up to 40% after 10 seconds. So this is a 10% damage bonus to this aspect. It's a pretty decent buff to it. Now, they've changed a couple of the unique items for the Necromancer. They've changed Bloodless Scream. It's not a significant buff. Where is it? Oh, there it is. So, on the lucky hit, the essence gained increased from 2 to 5 to 7 to 10. The lucky hit on it, I don't see that making much of a difference, honestly. And then Deathless Visage damage increased from, well, they put numbers on here, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. Basically, the Bone Spear Bolt leaves behind echo as it travels that explode. The damage on that has been buffed slightly. So, that's, kind of goes against the grain of where they were nerfing all the Bone Spear builds, but I guess they wanted to give something back on that. Alright, we have two other things I wanted to mention. There is going to be a new unique item for the Necromancer in Season 1. It's the Lidless Wall. It's a unique shield, and lucky hit on it will be while you have an active Bone Storm. Hitting an enemy outside of a Bone Storm has up to a 5 to 25% chance to spawn an additional Bone Storm at their location. Each of your active sacrifice bonuses increases the chance by 25%, and the total number of additional Bone Storms you can have by +1. So this is going to be a big buff for you if you are running a build without minions and using Bone Storm. It seems like a pretty decent build, and there's probably going to be some interesting builds come out of that. I'm honestly waiting to see how it looks when or if I get that item. Now, there's one new aspect as well, a legendary aspect that you can get in Season 1, and that is Blood Lance will consume blood orbs to also conjure lances from them. Each additional blood lance deals 20 to 50% of normal damage and prioritizes targeting unlanced enemies. So there's another buff to blood lance that we're reading about here. So that's pretty much everything that will be just for the Necromancer. To summarize it, it looks like minion builds are getting buffed in quite a few different areas. As well as the Bloodlance build is getting a good bit of love. It doesn't look like we've been hit too hard with the nerfs that everybody's complaining about, other than mainly the Bone Spear builds and Bone Spirit. Those seem to be the main nerfs that I'm seeing in the patch notes. So it does look to me like they're trying to help out the minion builds, though. But that's all I've got for you in this video. Be sure to leave me a like, comment, subscribe, all that fun jazz. Leave me a comment, tell me what you think about the changes, and I'll see you in the next one.